of every Georgian. Bob, if you would. All right. So this, in the upper left-hand corner, you can see the time. That's 11:05 p.m. This is after everyone was told to go home because there was a major water main break. That was false. There was no water main break at all. There was a toilet leak about 16 or 18 hours earlier in the day, leaking from the ceiling from a suite above. It was cleaned up. It had no impact on this election. The water main break pronouncement was obviously made to clear the room of all poll watchers and the media. So they were told that night that the vote count would be suspended because the water main break, and that they would resume the vote count the next morning. The next morning, everybody was stunned to learn that the people at State Farm Arena, there were 5 women that worked for about 2.5 hours from just before 11 p.m. until just before 1 a.m. Scanning ballots. And the disturbing thing about it is that there were 5 of these desks with women at each of the 5 desks. And we've labeled the first one here, kind of focused on her. She's wearing a purple top, desk 1. This is at 4x speed, so we don't have to sit there and watch, it in a slower speed. But you can see that this lady is taking the same stack of ballots, and once she runs them through the scanner, there she goes. She sticks them back in and runs them a second time and a third time. And then the lady to her right, wearing the yellow top, we've got a second video that shows that she did the same thing with a stack of ballots on her desk. And so there's ballot scan number 3 from desk number 1. One man, one vote just went out the window at State Farm Arena on the night of November the 3rd, 2020. And it's here for all of us to see. This is much like going to trial with a who ran the red light case, and instead of having people coming in and testifying about who ran the red light, you got a video showing who ran the red light. Now, it doesn't take experts, and I'm glad we had an expert here today on the ballots in the person of Jovan Pulitzer, who is probably one of the most qualified experts I've ever had in the kind of cases that I've ever presented. I'm blown away with his credentials and his ability to, if he was given access to these ballots, he could tell us with 100% certainty how many of those ballots are real. I mean, how many of them are fake? And that's, at the end of the day, that's what all Georgians want to know is, were these ballots, that were being scanned here after everybody was told to clear the room, were these real ballots or were they counterfeit ballots? But they were included in the vote total. Now, I served an open records request upon Fulton County. There you can see desk number 2. She's on scan number 2 of the same ballots. We need to know who these women are, for example. They need to come before this panel or somebody under oath, under penalty of perjury, and testify about those ballots after Jovan Pulitzer has had a chance to inspect the ballots. Because I think that these people would be pleading the Fifth Amendment if asked questions about what they knew about these ballots. So I've served an open records request upon Fulton County. I wanted to get those ballots and make them available to Jovan Pulitzer so that he could determine, are these legitimate ballots or not? And I also wanted access to those computers that you see there and those scanners so that they could image what's on those computers and scanners to tell the people of Georgia, and particularly the people of Fulton County like me who pay taxes, whether or not our votes are being diluted or stolen. So what do I get? I get no response from Fulton County Board of Electors. I called yesterday. We had this thing set up for this morning. We had a truck loaded with 4 of these commercial high-speed scanners specified by Jovan show up at Fulton County Board of Electors warehouse, which is where they told me yesterday I should go with the scanners. I had lawyers from my law firm show up there ready to scan these things according to his instructions, Jovan's instructions. We were then told, oh, we're not doing it here. Those ballots are down at State Farm. They're not at State Farm Arena. They're down at World Congress Center. So the trucks load up, drive down to World Congress Center, get down to World Congress Center. People at World Congress Center say, we don't know what you're talking about. We haven't been told to expect you. So then I'm hearing this, this hearing today, getting all these text messages from my lawyers in my firm saying, what do we do now? I said, well, call Ralph Jones. He's the head registrar for Fulton County. Call his office. Find out where the ballots are, when they're going to make them available. Because we've got a right to see those ballots under Georgia law and under federal law. Well, the last word I got a little while ago was they're not going to make them available unless we have a court order. So here we go again, kicking the can down the road, obfuscation, delay, trying to run out the clock. If I had an hourglass here with sand in it, that's the whole goal here is to run out the sand, run out of time so that the Georgia legislature and the people of Georgia won't have access to these ballots to see if they're true or not. And, it's time for the Georgia legislature, the House, led by a great man, Speaker Ralston, and it's time for the Senate, led by a man that I've known since we were both little boys growing up in Beaufort, Georgia, Senator Butch Miller. It's time for these two gentlemen to do their job, call in the House and the Senate to look at this video. Look at the State Farm video. We all can see it. We know who ran the red light. It didn't take an expert to tell us who ran that red light. We can see what happened. How many times the same ballots get voted over and over again. So it's time to call a session and let the people, one by one, every legislator who's been elected needs to raise their hand and say, I'm for one man, one vote. And if I'm seeing one man, one vote violated there, then every person in the legislature needs to say all of those votes under what is called the adverse inference law of Georgia, all of those need to be tossed. You can't rely on them.